Big news out of Donald Trump today. He was in court for the defamation trial. This is the second time he's been in court with Jean Carroll. They are trying to decide the damages here, and the judge doesn't really seem to like him so much, nor does he seem to like the judge. There was a situation with Donald Trump's attorney, Alina Hanna, and she wanted to say something, and the judge, he shut her down so fast and so hard, threatening her to be locked up. He'd lock her, that she'd be behind bars. I mean, what? So we're going to threaten lawyers with jail time. I guess that's what they're doing there. Judge Kaplan in New York. And so Trump was furious. And he's been saying all along, I just want to be able to defend myself. This isn't fair, et cetera, et cetera. And he raged at the judge and he stormed out of the courtroom. And then he took to social media. So let me share with you what he was saying on social media about the judge, Judge Kaplan. He said, there are so many things that could be brought into this case, things that I want to bring into this case that would totally exonerate me. Judge Kaplan is refusing me my constitutional right to due process to defend myself against this false accusation. This is a one-sided trial, he writes, where the other side is allowed everything and we are allowed nothing. He is an extremely abusive individual, the likes of which few have seen before, ! So again, putting this out just minutes ago there on Truth Social. And I imagine getting a lot of his fan base very, very worked up right now. There's so many lawsuits against him. It's hard to keep track. Alan Dershowitz wrote a book, Get Trump, very aptly named, I would say, because there are so many. I mean, there's new developments, by the way, down in Atlanta with Fannie, and apparently some seedy stuff. We can talk about that later. But the point being, there's so many of these lawsuits on, and no one's perfect. You got judges that aren't perfect. You got prosecutors that aren't perfect. And so we're not in the courtroom, by the way. This is all coming to us via the reports. He's pretty upset. He's upset about this judge and doesn't feel that he's really getting the opportunity to say his side of things. Of course, it's defamation at this point. So his point is, she's lying. And the more he doubles down on that, unfortunately for him, the harder it becomes, because she's going to then say, when you say I'm lying, you're defaming me. And so it goes, you see? So this is the process that's carrying out. And the left, they're kind of just eating it up, as you would expect they would. And there was a former U.S. attorney from California who was on CNN just moments ago, sort of gleefully talking about how much money this could cost Donald Trump. I want you to see this clip because it gives you a sense, if you would, about how they're just kind of like, yippee, yippee, yippee. I mean, this is not good, folks. This is not good. We shouldn't be wishing, just because we don't like someone politically, for them to be harmed in a financial sense. But you know the drill. Here we go.
Two parts to it. One, his utter incorrigibility and nastiness, repeating it again and again, but also, and they've entered into evidence, his wealth, probably, in fact, and ironically, inflated accounts of his wealth. So I don't know if there's a calculator high enough for what they might be thinking about. At the end of the day, there'll be a issue on appeal whether maybe they went too high, but really they're just completely, I think, given the freedom, but a sort of sober task of really what could make him stop. It's only money. So how high can you go?
Yeah, I think they're asking for $12 million in this particular case. I do want to ask you as to whether or not...
Can I just say that's incompensatory?
Incompensatory, that's right.
Could be to the roof.
Right. The punitive damages are the damages that often are very, very, very high.
Right. Okay. So the jury's going to says, by the way, it's going to go to appeal, etc. But it's ugly, right? Let's just be honest, guys. This is really, really ugly. And then when you think of the motivation behind some of these trials, I mean, don't forget, this one was being paid for by none other than the guy who was paying for Nikki Haley's campaign. That was Reid Hoffman. He's one of the tech bros, right? Started LinkedIn, and he's a well-established Democrat. And yet he is there, I guess this is a get Trump scenario, paying all of Jean Carroll's legal fees. He was also paying for Nikki Haley's campaign. And so there's this feeling, you know what, like if they're motivated enough and they have deep enough pockets, they can go after you. And this is something that actually resonates, I think, with a lot of Americans. It's one of the reasons why you see Donald Trump succeeding more and more and more and more in the polls. He won New Hampshire pretty handily. And then there was a new poll that just came out yesterday, a Reuters Ipsos poll that showed that, guess what, you know what, he's gained another 6 points. And in all of those swing states, he's gaining more. And so the train has left the station. There's all this momentum. And I suspect the more they do this with all of these cases, whether it be this Jean Carroll thing, whether it be what Fannie Willis has going on down in Georgia, whether it be Jack Smith, any of these, it just adds to his momentum. It makes him kind of feel like sort of Teflon Trump, if you would. That's going to be the new nickname, right? Because no matter what they hit him with, guess what? He comes back stronger. And Americans look at it and go, oof, you know, it's not fair, it's not right, etc. And he's a fighter and he's hitting back hard and he's going to continue. He's going to continue to do